You know, it's a strange thing, building a cathedral when everyone else only sees a pile of stones. They see the finished thing, the glass, the steel, the scale. They don't feel the cold in your hands as you lay the first brick. Alone, in the dark. I wasn't always Jeff Bezos. I was just Jeff. And my story didn't start in a garage. It started long before that. It started with a curious little boy spending summers on my grandfather's ranch in Texas. He was a real cowboy, a man who could fix anything. I remember watching him, his hands, worn and strong, taking apart a broken-down tractor engine. He didn't get angry. He didn't get frustrated. He just observed. He learned. And he put it back together. That lesson? It never left me. The world is just a series of systems. And if you have enough patience, enough curiosity, you can understand how they work. You can even build your own. I carried that with me. Through school, through college, through that job on Wall Street. It was a good job. A great job, by most standards. I was on a pre-worn path to a very comfortable life. But that curiosity, it became a quiet hum, a constant background noise. And then, in 1994, I saw it. The internet. Web usage was growing 2,300% a year. It was like seeing the dawn of electricity. You just knew. This wasn't a new tool. It was a new world. And I had this crazy idea. A bookstore. Not a physical one, but an online one. A store with millions of titles. More than any physical building could ever hold. People thought I was crazy. My boss, he was a good man. He listened to me. And then he said, "Jeff, that sounds like a really good idea for someone who doesn't already have a good job." He had a point. It was a safe point, a rational point. But I knew if I didn't try, if I let this moment pass me by, I would regret it for the rest of my life. I knew that at 80, I wouldn't think about the security I gave up. I would think about that crazy idea I never pursued, that haunts you more than any failure. So I took the leap. I remember telling my parents on a long drive. I was driving, my father was in the passenger seat. I said, "I'm going to do this thing. Start this company, sell books on the internet." And I gave them this whole speech about the potential, and then I said, "But I want you to know there's a 70% chance you'll lose your entire investment." My father, after a long pause, just said, "Son, that sounds interesting." I think he was just being polite. We started in the garage. Of course we did. A 3-bedroom house in Seattle. We had 3 Sun microstations, these big beige computers, and desks made out of wooden doors from Home Depot. Because it was cheap, I was the packer, the shipper, the customer service representative. I'd drive the packages to the post office myself in my old Chevy Blazer, and that first ding, the sound of a sale, it was like magic, every single time. But the magic, it was fragile. The struggle was real, so real. We were burning through cash. We were competing with giants. The doubters got louder. Articles were written. Amazon.toast, they called us. A fad, a bubble. I remember those nights, alone in the office after everyone had left. The silence was deafening. The weight of it all, the payroll, the promises, the people who believed in me. It was a physical weight on my chest. I'd stare at the screen, at the numbers, and wonder, is this the week it all ends? There were moments, dark moments, where giving up felt like the most rational, the most peaceful option. But I couldn't. I couldn't because of the customers, the letters they'd send. A student in a small town who found a textbook they couldn't get anywhere else. A grandfather who found an out-of-print book from his childhood. We weren't just selling things. We were connecting people to possibilities. We were building something that mattered. That belief, it was the fuel. It was the light in the dark. We kept our heads down. We stayed focused on the customer. Obsessively focused. It was our first and only principle. If it's good for the customer, it's good for us. And slowly, brick by brick, the cathedral began to take shape. The pile of stones started to make sense to other people. The journey from there, it's been written about 1,000 times. The expansion, the growth, the successes, the failures too. God, we've had failures. You have to. If you're not failing, you're not inventing. You're not pushing the boundaries. But looking back now, from this vantage point, the success, the scale, the numbers, they aren't what I see. I see my grandfather's hands on that tractor. I see my father's calm face in the passenger seat. I see the first wooden desk. I hear that first ding. So, if you take anything from my story, let it be this. Your curiosity is a compass. Pay attention to it. The safe path is often the riskiest one because it trades your potential for comfort. And when you have that crazy idea, that thing that keeps you up at night, don't talk yourself out of it because the odds are against you. The odds are always against you. Build your cathedral. Lay that first brick. Even if your hands are cold, even if you're the only one who can see it. Because one day, everyone will.